and welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. I'm Nikita Arora. Last week we talked about an unprecedented low, the fall in the rupee. This week we're talking about an unprecedented high, fuel prices which are skyrocketing. The petrol prices in Delhi today are at 81.63 rupees and in Mumbai at 89. Diesel prices are at 73.54 in Delhi and over 78 in Mumbai. Record highs, but the government has decided to show this increase in a very creative way. They tweeted this graph of the retail fuel prices in Delhi between 2004 and 2018. A complete misrepresentation of facts. Because the 2018 columns in both the graphs are lower than the 2014 columns, even though they represent a bigger value. Now, supporters are trying to justify this by claiming that actually the percentage increase now is lower than the percentage increase back in the UPA days. That the actual prices are not being represented here. So let's kill this controversy once and for all. The BJP's graphs are called percentage increase in prices, but the columns represent actual fuel prices. Mistake number one. If you want to show a graph with actual fuel prices, it should look like this. That is a correct representation because you can see that the actual fuel prices in 2018 are greater than the actual fuel prices in 2014. The diesel prices are 28% higher and the petrol prices are 13% higher. If you want to show a percentage increase price graph, then it should look something like this. Basically, you take 2004 as the base year and you have only 3 columns to show the percentage increase from one government to the other every 5 years. So you have UPA 1, you have UPA 2 and you have NDA. And yes, you do see a major dip in 2018. But don't jump to any conclusions yet because this graph ignores a very important element of the whole process. The purchase price of crude oil. Kache tel ka daam basically. Let's look at this graph that the Congress shared in response to the BJP. From 2004 to 2009, the crude oil prices increased by 61%. As a result of that, the retail prices increased by 21%. From 2009 to 2014, the crude oil prices increased by 84%. And as a result of that, the retail prices increased by 76%. But under the NDA, from 2014 to 2018, the crude oil prices actually dropped by 34% and the retail prices still went up by 13%. Let's look at this super simple table that we've created to put everything into perspective. 1 barrel of oil is 159 liters and this 1 barrel or 159 liters back in 2014 cost $107. If you go by the value of the rupee then, this $107 was equal to 6,300 rupees. So, if you divide the 6,300 rupees by 159, you get the purchase price of each litre of fuel. So, each litre of fuel you were getting at 40 rupees then. And the selling price according to the table was 71. If you apply the same logic to 2018 under the NDA, you will see that the purchase price of the fuel is 32 rupees, which is 19% cheaper. But the selling price is over 80 rupees, 13% costlier. BJP Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has gone on to say that external factors are responsible for this fiasco. Now it's true that Venezuela is facing a major crisis under Maduro, US has imposed severe sanctions on Iran, and India is being pressurized by the Trump government to stop importing Iranian oil. Now all of this is a major roadblock because 70% of our oil comes from OPEC countries, primarily Iran, Venezuela and Saudi. But even then, that can only affect the purchase price of crude oil. And UPA was delivering better retail prices under worse purchase prices. So there are internal causes that we cannot ignore. The falling value of the rupee is one main reason. I've done an elaborate video on this last week and you can watch that to find out more. But what is the other main reason? Watch this video by Arun Jaitley in 2012 in which we were facing a similar situation under the UPA. Now Arun Jaitley here calls the government insensitive and says that it is the government's high taxation on fuel prices that are actually responsible for the massive hike.
और आधे से ज्यादा जो तेल की कीमत है वो तो टैक्सेस के रूप में जा रही है। तो जब कच्चे धान की कीमत बढ़ती है तो टैक्स भी बढ़ जाता है। हम अपेक्षा करेंगे कि इसके जो विभिन्न प्रकार के टैक्सेस हैं सरकारें उसको रैशनलाइज करें और जनता के ऊपर जो बोझ डाला है सरकार उसको कम करे।
He is absolutely right. Taxes constitute more than half the portion of the petrol price, so they do need to be rationalized. And let's consider that the UPA failed to do that. But did the NDA do that when they came to power? From 2014 November to 2016 January, the NDA raised the excise duty on petrol and diesel on 9 different occasions. Let's understand this a little better. This is the table that shows the breakup of the petrol price in Delhi on the 10th of September this year. Now we know that the selling price is 80.73 rupees. What is this 80.73 made of? The Indian Oil Corporation, which is the refinery, sells the oil at 40.45 rupees. The central government charges a fixed amount of excise duty, which is 19.48 rupees. The state government of Delhi charges a VAT of 27%, which comes to 17.16 rupees. And the dealer has their own commission. Now, if you look at this table closely, you will see that the tax factor, just the excise duty and the VAT, amount to 36.64 rupees out of the total 80.73 rupees, which is 45% of the price that we pay for petrol is made up of excise duty and VAT. In Maharashtra, it's even higher because instead of Delhi, which charges 27% VAT, Maharashtra charges about 39%. So the total price in Maharashtra is actually touching 90 rupees now. And the tax factor is almost 50%. So half the price of the petrol that we are paying is made up of taxes. And that is the insensitivity that Arun Jaitley was highlighting in case of the UPA. But since they have come to power, they have raised the excise duty on 9 different occasions. In 2015-16, Modi called himself the lucky boy of Indian politics because oil prices then were below $40 a barrel. But the benefit of this price reduction was never passed on to the consumers. Not so lucky after all. So heavy taxation, as far as I understand, is an internal cause, unless there is some creative way of showing that external factors are responsible for internal taxation. But other than that, our dependence on foreign fuel is a major cause of concern. Prime Minister Modi has also spoken of looking for alternative domestic options, but out of our 206 billion barrels of oil reserves, 66% still remain unexplored. The natural gas reserves in our country also remain unexplored. So the government has a lot to do besides awarding itself certificates based on wrong graphs. But if we raise any questions, we are told we're still doing better than Nepal or Bangladesh or Pakistan. So I'm preempting that excuse. Ascertain for yourself if we are doing any better than our neighbors. I don't have to say much more on that issue. Petrol and diesel prices have a domino effect in the inflation on the country because they affect the prices of every commodity. Irrespective of what anyone wants you to believe, the reasons are more domestic than global. And the BJP seemed to know this when the UPA was in power. They were sure that it was the UPA's lack of will and lack of ability that was causing the massive hike in fuel prices. But if the situation is worse now than it was then, what does that say about your intent and ability? Until the elections, we will continue to analyze the government's performance on various projects and raise questions. If you have any suggestions for topics, please share your thoughts in the comments and I will do my best to cover those topics. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video.